Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. It's that time of the year again where we celebrated Christmas. So for those of you, I hope you had a very Merry Christmas and you're going to have an even better New Year. So it's this time of the year where I like to do my top 10 films of 2017. So this year, it's going to be a top 10 films, horror films of 2017. I know a lot of people have done this and a lot of people have shared the same sort of movies, but this is going to be a lot different. There are going to be some movies that you have heard of, but there are probably going to be some movies that you probably haven't heard of as well. So I'm going to start from number 10 and go up to number 1. I'm actually going to be doing a few of these videos leading up to the new year. There's going to be some that are going to be my films that didn't make the top 10 but are worth talking about, so look out for that one. But for now, I'm going to get straight into it. Going to start at number 10 and go up until the best film that I believe came out in 2017. So to prevent myself from going on too much, I'm going to get stuck into it straight away. So at number 10, we have a film that is loved and hated, and that is It Comes at Night. So this is a movie that is very psychological. It doesn't really explain much, but I thought the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. As I said, a lot of people hated it because you don't really know what's going on, but for me, I thought that kept the suspense levels, and I really like movies that are made up to your interpretation. So I believe that this is a very good film. It did match the hype that a lot of people have given it, but I can understand why a lot of people hate it, but I definitely believe that this deserves to be in any top 10 as far as horror thrillers are concerned. Number 9, we have a movie that I saw right at the start of the year when I watched it in cinemas in Argentina, and that is A Cure for Wellness. This is by Gore Verbinski. I thought, once again, this is a deeply atmospheric film. It does get a little bit silly towards the end, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it had a deep, dark, sort of dreaded atmosphere. It reminded me of films that have come before it without giving anything away, and I really like the performances. As I said, it's almost like a caricature, sort of surreal nightmare, and just the way the way it progressed, I was really happy with what I got, and it definitely deserves to be at my number 9. So number 8, we have a film that once again a lot of people hated because this is part of a franchise, but I believe if you treat this film by itself, it's actually a lot better, and that is Leatherface. Now Leatherface was directed by Alexandre Bastillo and Julien Maury, the French directors that directed my favourite horror film of all time called Inside. Now it's not biased, I actually firmly believe that Leatherface is actually a good film, but I can understand why people hated it because it didn't really have that Texas Chainsaw feel to it. Right at the end you get that Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel to it, but the rest of the movie, it kind of sidetracks itself. It doesn't really get into that sort of TCM environment, and so I understand if you treat it as far as this whole series is concerned, the whole franchise, you might be disappointed, but for me, I really liked how dark it went, and so it was a very morbid sort of experience that I really enjoyed, and it does have the gore that is very trademark of these directors. So that's number 8, Leatherface. At number 7, we have a movie, once again, that I saw very early in this year. It was a science fiction film. I don't really like science fiction horror movies, but this one really got to me. I really liked it, especially the ending. It reminded me of films such as Alien, you know, where they're stuck in outer space and there's nowhere to run. They have to face their fears, and that film is called Life. So Life stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, a whole host of other very well-known actors, and I didn't believe that it was going to be any good, but after coming away from the cinema, I really liked it. I thought the soundtrack was great. Once again, the atmosphere was great. There's a little bit of violence, but the ending really capped it off, and I just thought, as far as science fiction horror films are concerned, it was fantastic. It really reminded me of movies that have come before it that really inspired the making of this movie. So that's number 7, Life. Number 6 is an Australian horror film. It's a movie that no one really talks about, and it's called Killing Ground. Now, Killing Ground is a movie about these backpackers, or that they're going camping. They realise that there are campers next to them that haven't been seen. And so when they actually realise what's happened to these campers, it's already too late, and they're at the mercy of these two pig hunters. And so it really had the really dreaded sort of brutality of Wolf Creek, the first Wolf Creek. So if you like first Wolf Creek, you're really going to like The Killing Ground because it just has that really cruel atmosphere that really hits home. It's a very powerful experience. That's number 6, Killing Ground. Number 5 is a movie that I, once again, didn't really expect to like, but I actually ended up loving it, and that is The Void. So The Void is a creature feature film that was really disgusting, it was really weird, and it had practical effects, and so it actually creeped me out, and I will say that if a film these days creeps me out, it definitely deserves the recognition, and I believe that The Void is a fantastic experience, and it's an experience that I would highly recommend to anyone out there. Number 4, we have a movie that's an Australian-German co-production, and that is Berlin Syndrome. So Berlin Syndrome is about insanity, it's about obsession and loneliness, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Max Rialt and Teresa Palmer were fantastic in their roles. I just thought the chemistry was there, the chemistry was fantastic, and it just goes into really dark, morbid territory by the end of the film, and I just left thinking to myself, okay, well, this has a scarring effect on the viewer, and it's a very subtle film, and it's a movie that deserves a lot more recognition than it gets. So that's number 4, Berlin Syndrome. Number 3 is a more mainstream Hollywood film that is called Get Out. So Get Out is about about racist sort of stereotypes, but it doesn't preach it. It plays a lot of fun off it. And so I like that. A lot of people say it was racist, how, you know, anti-white and all that kind of stuff, but I thought it was very smart because it was playing off those racist stereotypes and it was making it a very intriguing film. It's a very creepy movie, and I really like the way it finished. I like the revelation as to what was going on. I thought it was very creative and definitely one of the brighter experiences of this year. So that's number 3, Get Out. Number 2 is a film that I absolutely love. I love this director, and a lot of people say that this is his comeback, but I believe he never really lost it. He tried different films in the past, but it didn't quite work out for everybody, but at least he was trying something new, and so he's really found his form with this movie. A lot of people loved it, and I loved it especially, and that is number 2 is Split. So Split is a film that is about this man who's kidnapped these girls. He has a lot of personalities, about, I think it was 12 personalities in all, and he is basically working on his last personality that is very, very dangerous. So they have to try and escape these girls, but then something really shocking happens, and the end of this film was absolutely fantastic. M. Night Shyamalan, take a bow. You have created another fantastic experience to go along with the host of other films that you've created that have been equally as memorable. And then number 1, this is a French horror film, and this is a movie that really revitalised you know, the new wave of French horror, and I hope that it's going on to bigger and better things, and this is the film called Raw. So Raw is a movie about loneliness. It's a movie about fitting in. It's a movie about vegetarians and how they are basically shunned off a little bit. You know, it's all about meat eating. It's, you know, when you go to restaurants, there's not many vegetarian options. So my wife's a vegetarian. I know how that feels. And so this movie plays off that, but it gives it a very dark aspect, and it reminded me of French Extreme. And so that's something that is not often occurring these days, but Raw definitely has the essence of what made new wave French horror so good. So I believe that this movie definitely warrants number 1. It is the best horror film of 2017. I absolutely loved it. Alright guys, so that's it for my top 10. I hope you guys got a few films in there that you haven't seen, or if you have seen them and you don't agree, by all means, you know, show me what your top 10 is in the comments below. You know, if you don't like these films, feel free to criticise me, but you know, I don't really care about you know, the fact that, you know, people out there might not like the choices I have, but this is for me what I believe was the top 10 in 2017. Looking forward to hearing about what yours were. So, yeah, have a great remainder of this 2017 and have an even better start to the year 2018. Hopefully some more great horror films are on the way. Alright guys, that's it for my video. Until next time, keep watching movies and I'll see you later.